To all of you once again. And thank you for taking the time to
insisted.
today. The Chiranjeev Gurukul community is growing steadily and strongly, and it is a moment of joy for us to be conducting this Sammelan in person for the very first time. When we launched the initiative in March 2022 with Dr. Raj Vedam, I don't know how many of you attended the online program that we did, but that was an amazing Sammelan that we had. We envisioned a space for meaningful discussions rooted in wisdom. Since then, we've been privileged to host remarkable panelists who have brought invaluable insights to this platform. Today, we are delighted to welcome our special guest, Dr. Anil Khandelwal. Namaste. He has graciously travelled all the way from Mumbai to be here with us. The focus of today's conversation is going to be on insights from Dr. Khandelwal's recent bestseller, The Gym of Leadership. Leading this engaging and candid discussion will be Rajesh Kamath, our very own co-founder of Chiranjeev Gurukul and Chanakya Consulting Insights.
Namaste to all of you.
Who will bring in a flavor of our wonderful Indian wisdom as well. Rajesh Kamath is a keynote speaker, storyteller par excellence, teacher, coach, and in his own words, a lifelong learner. His purpose or dharma is to apply principles from eternal wisdom to modern organizations. With over 20 years of experience in leading organizations and consulting firms, he founded Chanakya Consulting Insights before he co-founded Chiranjeev Gurukul in 2020 with Praful Chandavarkar and Amita Menon.
That's
Through his work, he has helped across industries.
Yes, to Amita as well.
And adopting timeless Indian principles. He's a renowned community builder. We all know that. He has founded MPHR Global Community, many of you from that community here today. The CXO community as well, and the Living Philosophy Study Group. So welcome all of you from those groups. I know many of you come from that group. And a little bit about Chiranjeev Gurukul. Chiranjeev Gurukul is dedicated to creating positive change in our community, leading to a larger transformation. We are a group of driven individuals who are trying to create an ecosystem where individuals can interact, engage, and grow within a nurturing community. One that is deeply rooted in Indian values and knowledge systems, and with a focus on contributing to the nation's development. Our main offerings are leadership development programs designed for adults and working professionals, children and teens, university students. Our community initiatives are many. We have something called the Shodh Yatra, which is field learning expeditions. We have a WhatsApp community group where we have ongoing knowledge sharing happening. We have the Sammelan, which is what we are doing today, which are panel discussions. And we have something called the Katha Shala, which all of you know about, which is about storytelling events. We also have Seva retreats, where we have these service initiatives where we take people into our farm and you get to feel what Seva is all about. And we have something called the Vriddha Seva Sanyog, which is free mentorship programs. So anyone who is part of the community can avail of these free mentoring programs. So here we are today. We are going to look forward to a meaningful and enriching discussion. Thank you for being part of this evening. And I wish to thank our venue partners, the House of Malacca Spice. Thank you. Thank you. And our sponsor for this evening is Regal Unlimited. Thank you. Subhash and Devi for making this happen for us. The conversation will run for about an hour.
Yes.
Which will be then followed by a Q&A with Dr. Khandelwal, and which will be then followed by a book signing. The books are available outside. We have a book counter at the entrance, and I want to thank Rohit from the Book Express for being here today. I don't know if he's here, but thank you, Rohit. Thank you. So with that, we can begin. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
So I don't need a mic. All right, and I've got a mic for the camera, so that's good enough. So let's begin as I always do with a big round of applause for all the audience. Thank you for being here. Once upon a time, it was only in Mumbai that, people had to really struggle. Now, Pune is no different. आपको इतनी मेहनत करनी पड़ती है यहाँ पहुँचने के लिए, right? But I was blessed today. I was praying. I was coming from a training program that we had at 𝙃𝙃, and I had to reach here, and I had to make sure that sir didn't have to wait too much. Not because he would fire me, but because I would feel embarrassed if he had to wait. So I reached in a record 25 minutes. Wow. Thank you, Traffic Devi. I'm so blessed. Okay. Okay. So, before we get on with this, I think it's my privilege and honor, everything to introduce her. Okay. Many of you won't know this, but there'll be several who know this, that he's been my role model for years. And when I think leadership and someone who has practiced it in the truest sense, in almost every action, in decision making, in his personality, in his character, it's him. Several of you have heard this without him knowing as much. How many times I have narrated, the stories that appear in this book over here. It's called Dare to Lead. So even though we are speaking about this book over here, most of my stories come from here, but that's not all. There is a concept in the Arthashastra. See, the most unique thing about today's session is going to be, we are going to have a jugalbandi of leadership concepts practiced by sir in his life so far and ongoing, and what we learn in Indian wisdom. And if you know nothing about our Shastra, it doesn't matter, okay, because you will see it in his actions. Everything will become clear. But I want to give you one concept to begin with, and which he mentioned briefly. That's called Vriddha Sanyog. Vriddha Sanyog is not living in the company of the aged, but having the association with role models, with mentors whom you can learn from. And it so happened that when I had started learning the Arthashastra, and now it's become my purpose of life, at around the same time, within a year or two, I got introduced to sir. What a blessing it was. And since the concept was Vriddha Sanyog, I was like, how would it be? And of course, I didn't tell him then, I told him later. How would it be if I test this? And him being who he is, he welcomed it. And for 6 months, I had the opportunity of going to his home every Monday. I live in Talegaon, by the way, not in Mumbai. But I would go every Monday or Tuesday to sir's home, spend half a day or more over there. He would treat me as a younger brother, still does, and learn from him while also working with him on some of his research projects. I can't tell you how enriching it was. Everything that would come into, books beyond this was already released then. I could hear it first hand, without any filtering. Okay, straight from the horse's mouth. And in such an amazing way, कि वो कहानियां ना मेरे ज़हन में ही उतर गई. And now they are part of my stories whenever I speak about leadership. Okay, some of it you will hear from him today. Alright, so what an honor it is, what a blessing it is to be able to host him in Pune. I have hosted sir many times. हमारे interviews भी बहुत हुए, but इस तरीके का आपको कभी नहीं मिलेगा. That's number one. The second pleasure is I'm highly inspired by our co-founder Praful, who's sitting over there. Those who haven't met him, please meet him. I'm not exaggerating. It is an education in leadership. All right, and we founded, Chiranjeev Gurukul together. And this, beautiful satsang of all of you here and several of you practicing leaders in your own realm, and then along with sir over here in conversation, and some perhaps, when I can't respond, I'm going to direct it to you, Praful, any of the questions. So, बहुत मजा आएगा आज. All right, so with that, let's get started. So, let's put it this way. I want to ask him something which I know but I would love him to elaborate that what is the first requirement of a leader, sir, जो आप देखते हैं दूसरों में. Like, what is the quality that you would see in one when you interact with, and you say, this quality can be seen. And then I'll connect it with what Acharya Chanakya did. Let's see what comes together. Aji, sir.
Is it working?
Sir, you can be heard, sir.
No,
Please go ahead. Can you give him a mic?
I've eaten so much that...
Yes. So we have it ready.
So I would rather have
Yes.
it, you know. So thank you very much, Rajesh, for the very generous, overwhelming and intimidating introduction. For me, it is very intimidating. He has already raised your expectations, but nevertheless. So your question as to what impresses me most from a leadership angle is whether the person, not in casual meeting like here, but in my own organization after seeing, he or she can be trusted for her words. A lot of people who are bullies, I can tell you, making promises, making grand statement of their commitment, and there are very few who can be trusted. So one. The second thing that I see is self-management of people. That includes their personal discipline and how they manage their return on time management.
Superb.
Third is, especially at senior level, at senior level, most important thing is, are you responsive? When people write to you, today only when I was in Pune, a friend of mine tell me, can you get me an appointment with a general manager in so bank? I have written him 3 mails, I have talked to his secretary, there is no response. Responsiveness is a corporate leader's disease in India, an epidemic. And most of them have good intention, but they don't do anything about it. So you have to wish that you have to train their secretaries to be responsive rather than the leaders. And I can tell you, they don't respond to customers. So I always say India में customer वो है जो कष्ट से मर रहा है. Customer. Now, lot needs to be done on this. Now, not in the self-glorification. After 20 years, I will send it to you, you can circulate. A customer of ours in Lucknow wrote to me, somehow found my email or whatever, that 20 years back, when I was chairman and managing director of Bank of Baroda, 40,000 employees, 3,000 locations, imagine. Any customer could write to me with the hope of response. So he said that, look here, I had written to a letter to my branch manager, I had a problem, and just sent a copy to you, little realizing something will happen. You are sending to chairman of the bank. And next day, 10 o'clock, branch manager's phone came that he's coming to see him. That was the impact of your letter. In the corporate office, I had 2 of some young officer, because I had started a helpline for 40,000 employees. Anyone writing to me must get back me. And another customer relation officer for 3 crore customers. They don't write to you, all of them. Maybe you're getting 5 or 4 every day. So the point is, leadership, other things are transactions, operations, AI, technology, NPA, credit, they are operations. The confidence in employees and customers, whether their voice will be heard. I think we have not recognized this small thing, and I had told my general managers that, look here, if you make a business mistake, And making a business mistake can run in lakhs and crores in banks. And if you are done in good faith, I will never take on you. But if I find that there is a response mistake, I am not going to spare you. So in large systems, you have to do a number of things. Unfortunately, in this country, we have sold leadership as a very mushy thing. You should be very kind, you should be nice, you should be humble, you should be this, you should be that, except a good manager. If you are not a good manager, you can never be a good leader. I can assure you. At the end of the day, if he is a restaurant manager, first of all, he has to ensure that things are running in rhythm. People are served, attended to, dealt with, and the restaurant is able to keep his people happy down below everything. If he's not a good manager, no point training him for leadership. That's superb. For this, I like to say.
Yes. So, reliability, discipline, responsiveness, what did I miss? Trust, which came first. Now let me tell you, some of you will know this. When Acharya Chanakya was looking for a leader for creating Akhanda Bharat, the undivided India, he was going about the width and length of Bharat, looking for someone suitable because none of the existing leaders would provide that. And there it is said, and you can see this in Padma Shri Dr. Dwivedi Saab's old Chanakya serial. और कोई भी मत देखिए, it's all romanticized. ये serial आप देख सकते हैं, researched and created after studying over 450 books in all Bharatiya languages and English. Okay, then that serial was made. He shows this scene that Acharya Chanakya suddenly chances upon a group of youngsters playing a game. The children would have been between 12 and 15. उसमें से एक लड़का राजा बना हुआ था, बाकी के मंत्री थे, and they were playing a game of, each one is presenting something, and one of them, presumably you could say the prime minister or the one to do with law, brings one of the playmates only, but as someone who has committed a crime, and he says इसको कारावास दिया जाए, लेकिन ये हमारे बाजू वाले राज्य का है. So since he is an outsider, please give him double the punishment, he tells the king. Okay, the king is played by this young boy, who it is you may have figured. The young boy says, please, he's in the game. But he's saying, don't, make divisions between our Rajya and next Rajya. We are all under the same kingdom or the same Rashtra called Bharat. So he will get the punishment, but not based on which state or which kingdom he belongs to. Acharya Chanakya was watching that. And you can imagine how he felt about it. Here is a youngster who was speaking the same language which Acharya was looking for, which is bringing all the Rajya together to create a Rashtra. Here we are 2500 years later, and we are still fighting between Maharashtra and Karnataka. I'm sure you've read the news. When Acharya heard Chandragupta, the boy was Chandragupta, that young boy, and he didn't know him from earlier at all. He asked him, who are you? First he says, very important. He says, Maharaj ki jai ho. He continues to play that game, but in his mind he's already realized, here's the potential of that young boy. What did he find in him? He of course asked him a lot of questions, not getting into details, do watch it. But what did he find in him? He found in him that quality which resonated with Acharya. That he has those qualities that we are looking for, which we can count on for creating an Akhanda Bharat, because the boy himself inherently believes. He must have been 14, 15 years. And you could make out from the very fact that he was playing the role of a king and discharging the duties so effectively that he has the other qualities. So when the boy shares that he doesn't have a teacher because many teachers have rejected him in the past for whatsoever reasons, he says, "Aaj se tera acharya main." And that's when he accepts him. and then he grooms him, builds that additional discipline in him. But what I want to tell you, and students of Indian wisdom, several of you here, even if you are not, you can pay attention, sir. This is very important, and see how it connects with what sir has said. That boy says that, I'm trying to recollect what the exact dialogue was. That boy says that, मैं तो अभी अज्ञानी हूँ देव. He says, yeah, you have praised me and all of that, but मैं तो अभी अज्ञानी हूँ. I don't have the knowledge, where are you taking me? He says, पर तुम विनयी हो. Now Vinay, in the Arthashastra scheme of things and a lot of Indian wisdom, does not stand for humility. It stands for the discipline and learnability. Agar learnability hai, you can be groomed. Today, even in modern coaching, many coaches will be here. We say, are you coachable? So he saw that quality in him, and that's when he picked that boy. Didn't tell him what he was up to, because even Acharya couldn't tell, ye banega ki nahi samrat, mujhe pata nahi. But he took him to Takshashila and trained him. And I jokingly say that he would have given him what today will be called as an accelerated leadership program, sir. In Harvard's management school, he took him to Takshashila and gave him that education. And the rest is history. Chandragupta became the first king of Akhanda Bharat. So many times I have told sir, and he's, he couldn't believe it earlier, but I know he believes me now and several years later. I used to tell him, sir, आप जो भाषा कह रहे हैं ना, वो तो आचार्य चाणक्य की है. So that brings me to the second point. Sir, this book, what is this gym about? Why the gym of leadership? Should we go to a gym to become a leader? What's the concept, sir?
Yeah, so you see, my love affair with leadership started 54 years back when I passed my engineering, but I didn't like it. I basically loved social sciences, and I decided, although I desperately needed a job, I belonged to a middle class family. But still I decided, if I don't take this decision to pursue something that I like, by a chance, someday I saw an advertisement, Bank of Baroda recruiting probationary officers. I said, chalo bhai, I joined. And the very first day, I reported to the branch manager. And without looking at me, he phones to his boss, regional manager. And he said, sir, I had asked for a experienced officer. And you have sent this Rangroot to me. Rangroot, वो आर्मी में जाते हैं ना, पीटी करते हैं, भागते हैं, young boys. I cannot babysit him. I need an experienced person. And throughout the day, I was whiling away in the branch. No job was given. And out of frustration, they made me savings bank in charge. I didn't know the spelling of savings bank. But to my rescue came a clerk who taught me my job. Now, that now in modern day jargon we call induction process. 54 years back, it was not induction. Abhi to itna glamorized ho gaya induction, you can't distinguish in some company induction and a groom coming to garland her bride. You can't listen. ऐसे बैंड बाजे से रिसीव करते हैं और आपको ये असाइन किया है, आपको वो असाइन किया है, which is all fake, I am telling you. We have learned lot of fake HR in this country from many of American jargons. Look at the name, from establishment officer to personnel officer to people related officer to this officer. But Rajesh, you will be shocked. Recently, somebody gave me a card. What was the designation? Chief Igniting Officer.
आग लगा दो.
What would you call this? So, but now you see, there is a lesson in this. 1 year I somehow passed doing all this. I was fed up. I said I must resign. In fact, my manager said, I'm not going to recommend you for confirmation also. I said, यंग लोग ऐसा थप्पड़ मार के जाओ बैंक में, ऐसे नहीं जाने का. So I wrote a letter. I had sort of journalistic orientation. I was like writing letters to the editor, this, that.
He writes beautifully.
And those kind of things. So I wrote to then chairman of the bank, and somebody said, you have committed sacrilege. Chairman of the bank, junior officer writing. So I said, sir, मैं जब join किया, a brochure was given, this will be your training, very systematic training, this, that. You will be sent to Bank of Baroda Staff College, Ahmedabad, 1 month induction program. Nothing has happened. But see the culture of Bank of Baroda, the great Maharaja Baroda, somebody who said,
Mir. Sayaji Rao Maharaj.
Our culture, you see, the chief of personnel, one Marathi gentleman, Mr. Bede, he replied to my letter and he said, in your letter you have raised following issues. You are not sent to induction program. You know, आजकल तो hey, hi, boy, ये सब कुछ नहीं. By endorsing a copy of this communication to Bank of Baroda Staff College, you are asking them to accommodate in the next program. You have said you are not rotated in a branch. I am asking regional manager to visit the branch and see how it has happened. Responsiveness. That saved my job. I stayed back. A man whose services were not to be confirmed eventually became chairman of that. How Bhede, by using a responsiveness, a policy of communication, see, they can create dramatic impact in the life of people. And since then, I have replied to every single communication I have received in my life. I claim. In fact, in Bank of Baroda, there was a joke that I wrote to him just to see whether he replies. Yeah. And then the joke was, he has not replied. Check. He must be in ICU, because if he was in the ward, he would still reply. You must develop a reputation. And trust me, the transformation that took place in the bank was not as a result that I am a great banker. Let me share with you, I am not even a banker. I have never managed a branch. I was never a branch manager. I was never an accountant. I was never a regional manager. I was a trainer, a human resource person. And out of contempt, one day I was sent, when I was deputy general manager, chairman called because unions were after me. They always considered me a sort of an outsider. He's talking a different language and he would finish us one day. And I was eventually, one day my chairman called and said, Khandelwal, time for you to go to banking operations. I said, I don't know ABCD of banking operation, you will be taking a risk. So he said, no, if you can do PhD, you can learn banking. There is nothing in the bank. My immediate boss told Khandelwal, there is a conspiracy against you, you better resign and something else. But look what is more important for us. I said, I worked my life in HR. We give sermons to others. Here I am put to a challenge. I cannot afford to run away. I will learn. I go to banking operations. 200 branches under me. One day, I don't know difference between hypothecation and cash credit. Imagine. I sit on zonal manager UP. I called 200 branch managers meet and I said, you know I am not a banker. You are bankers. Tell me what is your biggest areas that I can handle. IR problems, industrial relations, human resource. I said, delegate all those to me. And we worked a synergy. While people have written me off that finally this man will go away from the bank, in the very first assignment in banking, I was promoted as general manager. And then sent, then the Waterloo of banking, Calcutta. Where Calcutta means your friends, there is a called punishment posting those days. You can imagine, in one of my branches, India Exchange, the business was shrinking. There were 75 peons in that branch, 150 clerks, and it was a nightmare, I tell you. A manager cannot shift a clerk from here, this seat to this seat, agitation. They were bred into agitation culture. Imagine when bank wanted to implement job rotation, one branch, let us say Koregaon Park to Lakshmi Road, that may be far or nearby, there were 40 days strike. So I am only telling you, I was sent there. So my chairman by that time had developed something. He called me to Delhi and he said, Khandelwal, I have to send you to Calcutta. Just go for 1 year. After that, I will send you to New York. So he was so apologetic. I told him, sir, the average stay of any zonal manager in Calcutta was 7 months. So he said, 1 year you go, then I'll send you to New York. I said, sir, I have only one request to be made. He was surprised whether he will go. Sir, you send me for 3 years. And don't be apologetic. If I was in your place, I will send only Anil Khandelwal to Calcutta. Because only I can handle Calcutta. I'm a IR man, I'm a HR man. If I fail, it's a test of my skill. In this book, read the chapter on Calcutta. You will know what all was done, that even from Calcutta I was promoted to a board level position. My promotion has been, everyone in the industry was surprised, because what I trained myself from branch was I had a transformational mindset. So leadership is nothing but transformation. It is not about static. It is not about, being expert on something in leadership position. Transformation. And somebody asked me, what is the secret sauce of your going to the top without being operational? Every single job. As this proceeds, I will tell you what all I transfer. So,
yes.
You coming back to this question.
So before you proceed,
yeah.
Can you repeat that one line which you addressed the Kolkata managers with? आपने एक line बोला था. बहुत मजेदार है. मुझे सुन के तो बहुत मजा आया.
मैंने
all you dash 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 show me your energy.
I said, no, I never talked of the work in the first meeting. So I said, you Chatterjee, Mukherjee and Banerjee, what you require is energy. And in Calcutta they want work, but they will, every year, each branch will keep a fantastic gala evening of, and every single home has a harmonium and this and that, I love Calcutta, by the way. वहाँ आदमी जाते हुए भी रोता है और आते हुए भी रोता है. I love Calcutta. Now, in their annual function, I will go and say, भाई आपने कितना पैशन है ये सब करने का, बहुत अच्छा लगता है. भाई मेरी कोई रिक्वेस्ट नहीं है, इसकी 5% पैशन वर्क में आप ले आएंगे तो मुझे बड़ी खुशी होगी. So I challenge the issue head on, and yet in a manner that does not hurt them. You see, Calcutta story was such. They used to take out a newsletter every month, Bob Saga, B-O-B Saga. Unions used to, in which they will say, Khandelwal is this, his history is this, he's that. They will discredit managers and top managers. So communication versus I started Eastern Spirit. And the very first issue was that Eastern Spirit is about Vivekanand, Rabindranath Tagore, Mother Teresa, and the whole thing parallel. Bob Saga was closed after 3 issues. So, whole lot of things. Finally, those who are serious students of leadership must read both the books together if you want to.
Yes.
Not that you can't read
Yeah.
this
So
or
back
that.
to gym.
Now, gym, how it occurred. After I completed my tenure as chairman of Bank of Baroda, I thought I have some stories in my mind, and persons like him gave feedback, they are good stories. But I was always asking a question, why another book on leadership? I always, from a transformational angle, write, why another book on leadership? The whole, you put on Google, thousands of books on leadership. Why? And I couldn't get answer to that. In between, I wrote 3 more books. But this insect was in my mind. Finally, last 3-4 years, I started going to gym. And as I was on this, I said, look, every day I have to bloody get up at 6 a.m., come at a particular time. I have to have discipline, passion, consistency, occasional bruises, and coach. This is what leadership is about. Unless you are disciplined, unless you have passion to develop, unless you have someone coach like him or many of you, or unless you have failures like bruises, sometimes you hurt your muscle. From there, I got the idea of gym. And with 3-4 of my friends, mentors, जिससे भी मैंने बात किया, उसने कहा यार इसको ब्लॉक कर लो, ये कोई ले नहीं जाए जिम, इसको पेटेंट करा लो, इसको ये कर लो, इसको वो कर लो, ये is very superb, this thing. From that it started. And Rajesh, if you remember,
Yes,
I don't do, you see, I'm not a great researcher, but a little dipstick research. I said, Rajesh, bring me to some young people in some hotel in near Bombay airport.
Orchid tha.
Orchid.
Yeah, Sahara Star.
Some 30-40 people collected. Now, we're asking them, tell me what kind of problems you face, what is it in leadership you would like to develop. Then IIT Bombay, Shailesh J. Mehta Institute of Management invited me to several leadership programs. I'll give them some access. So I did something and I identified 18 skills. It so happened that 18 skills, so when my book was released in Delhi by Piyush Goyal, minister, he brought out a very strange thing. He said, there are 18 chapters of Mahabharata. 18 days, this war had gone, and some 3-4 things. So, and then one endorsement has even written, these 18 chapters are nothing. This book is a Bhagavad Gita of leadership. Somebody. Wow. So, but I never planned 18 or 16 or 7. Now in this I took the pattern that if you want to develop a skill, which you are doing so brilliantly, each chapter, half of the chapter is what it is and what it is not, what is the research about it, and half the chapter is gym of developing this. How do you develop that? Like very often in every leadership seminar, people say, you should be authentic. No, it was not pani puri. Then you take pani puri, you will become a leader. Most difficult thing to be authentic. If you are a national security advisor, will you reveal your secrets to other countries just because you want to be authentic? You want to hit a person and you go and hit him just because authentic. People have no idea. I went deeper and found there is a research about this. And one lady, Ibarra from INSEAD and Harvard, she did research and she brought out a concept of adaptive leadership. That authenticity has to be contextual. You can't be brash. So I put all those things. For 2 years, I was reading Harvard Business Review, California Management Review, and Sloan Management Review because their researches are very practical. It is not about rats, which psychologists do, you know. And use lot of concepts which have come inside about various concepts. So half of the chapter, and we say what authenticity is not, what it is, and what are the latest that. And lot of practical anecdotes. In fact, I was on a trip to meet several friends. Tell me anecdotes with regard to that. My own anecdotes, other anecdotes. And because I think leadership is all about personal stories. You have a story, someday you were born, someday your mother fondled you, your father said something which you are keeping in your head till today. You know, everyone has a story. Discover your story. You are a leader yourself. And in the search of authentic leaders, how Gandhiji could say most difficult things in very simple words. Be the change you want to. I don't think. It is quoted internationally so much. Now today you see evening news programs which we have stopped seeing this last 2 years. Murge ladate. So what do you think? A woman raped, she says, how are you feeling? What nonsense, I tell you. Mother's child has died. So madam, what are your feelings about it? I think our leaders, I think last thing you can believe about them is not to believe anything they say. So we are living in an era of leadership deficit. Future world will not be destroyed by nuclear armament. It will be destroyed by deficit leadership because a madman can press the button. So that's the potential for developing leadership, and I'm very happy the kind of work, Rajesh, you are doing, taking head on from students. You cannot teach, I'm more than convinced, 55, 58-year-old person, you know, even psychology mein, 14 saal, 18 saal ke baad, it's very... So you are taking this leadership through variety of things to students, young people. I think that's a real mission. And I strongly believe me, someday if I share with you that how non-leaders reach to the top. Most top management are non-leaders because they are sucked by the power. They are sucked by the power. उस पावर में मैं रहा हूं साहब, मैंने वो नशा भोगा हुआ है, इसलिए बता रहा हूं आपको. There are people around you, airport जा रहे हैं 4 आदमी, sir. I used to tell my PA that look, Rajesh, oh sorry, Rakesh. I said, Rakesh, you go back home. नहीं साहब बताइए और मैं ये. I said, Rakesh, now you are becoming irritatingly courteous. आप दिल्ली जा रहे हैं, दिल्ली का जोनल मैनेजर जिसको इतना काम है वो हर बार आपको लेने आ रहा है. So I remove many of these things.
Yes.
Because unless you can demonstrate every damn thing that you talk, and I have never attended a leadership program. I think going to this Harvard, Stanford, yes, if you are a researcher, go. But sending somebody to learn about being trustful, being credible. My mother, in the early childhood, used to sing a verse from Ramcharitmanas. Raghukul reet sada chalai, pran jaye par vachan na jaye. So one day I asked my mother, what is this? She said, देखो, हम लोग middle class के लोग हैं. जिंदगी में ध्यान रखना. If you have given promise to someone, try to fulfill. This is credibility. Now, do I need to go to Harvard to learn this? You tell me. Please tell me. Much of $350 billion is spent in developing leaders. This I am not saying. Jeffrey Pfeffer, world's #1 of Stanford University, say is a waste of money. Anyway, up to here.
Yes, more on that.
Yeah.
So you can see what a storyteller is. Such amazing stories, and you learn from that phenomenally well. So, 1 or 2 things I wanted to ask you about the title, because I remember this distinctly when I was, working as an apprentice with sir, if I can call it that.
Don't
so,
call that.
Sir, आपने कही
We were writing a book, CEO Chess Master of God.
Yes.
He helped me a lot.
So one of the things he said...
This is his humility, let me tell you.
I absolutely mean every minute, every word of this. So he mentioned one thing then. You can't outsource health to the doctor. Similarly, you can't outsource your leadership to a consultant.
Yes, what I said exactly was
Yes.
this. Gentlemen, can you outsource your morning walk to a doctor? That he should walk on your behalf, thinking that your health will be improved. Likewise, leadership, you cannot expect academic institution or your bosses. You must be willing to deploy yourself, and then they can help you. Then Rajesh can help you. Then Amita can help you.
Yes.
Then Praful can help you. Then many others can help you. If you are a reluctant horse,
Yes.
no one can help you. And I have always believed that leadership development is a personal choice. Many people don't want to be developed as leader. Don't waste your time with them. Don't waste your effort. Instead, use those resources on those who are interested. In fact, now I am propagating another theory that organizations symbolically, even 5% or 10% should take what they spend on leadership development, because that will bring their involvement.
Superb.
ये फ्री की मेडिसिन सब कोई नहीं लेता है, मैं आपको बता दूं.
The other thing that I remember you saying constantly is that leadership is a muscle you can build. A little bit on that, sir, because that also connects with this title.
Yeah. Because see, I will tell you something. We have such, I should be very honest, recently there is something called Tiger Hall. I am think influencer with Tiger Hall, Singapore. So they asked me to write it's on LinkedIn, you can read it, on emotional regulation and anger management. By the way, I'm an angry young man. If you go and ask my wife, my son, and they will. So we are all leaders who are work in progress. We have not arrived at the Victoria terminus of leadership. We are work in progress, human beings. Nehru was short-tempered. Others are short-tempered. You may be short or something else you may be. First of all, own what you are. So what happened? One of the things that made me very angry during my bank days was if somebody in my meeting yawned. Here you can do. But somebody, if some general manager yawning, I tell you, ऊपर से नीचे तक मैं, I found out its source in my childhood. I found out its source in my childhood. कि मुझे क्यों होता? It's very silly ना किसी से बात. But all of us, please find out your silly things. You'll find out. And I found out in early childhood, we had a small place. मैं जरा कुछ पढ़ाकू type था. And one of the immediate elder brother was must type. So 10 बजे आके, he will come and near me he will say, and that angered me so much, and I was carrying that anger. But one day I decided to deal with it. So, couple of things I did. When someone yawns, he's around, I will also yawn. थोड़ी उससे जाएगी. I will disappear. No, I'm telling you, we are all psychological cases sometimes. I may have written a book on leadership, but there are a lot of deficit leadership here and there. We must own that first. And 75% in last 5 years, with a lot of personal effort, have gotten over. Please find out. And so if leadership, it's the gym I have traveled through myself.
Yes.
It's a gym. Find out. Some people in communication, they simply don't listen. Especially youngsters. No, mom chill. You people are always, to parents, आप लोग, you know, आप लोग तो हमेशा ऐसा. Who are these आप लोग? ये हम लोग कब बनेंगे? So I was talking to a young person. My friend told, यार मेरा लड़का हमेशा आप लोग करता रहता है. So I sat with him. He didn't mean not wrong anything, but I had to coach him for that. How parents can feel. The point I am saying is, it's a gym to improve any habit. Listening. Lately I have been trying a mobile birth. Keeping away mobile for, let us say, during this time 2 hours, during this time this hour. It's not an easy thing, let me tell you.
Yeah.
The third thing today on the way I was deciding, why should I get so much with responsiveness has become obsession with me. रात के 3 बजे उठता हूँ, देखता हूँ क्या है, जवाब देने बैठ जाता हूँ. So it is working on my patience now कि भैया मैं दे सकता हूँ, सुबह उठ के दे दूँगा, मॉर्निंग वॉक के समय दे दूँगा. It has become obsession. And my waking hours are funny, between 2 o'clock to 4:30. Depend when I sleep. So मैं रात में ही चालू हो जाता हूँ. Sometimes people say you are a night bird, I say I'm night owl. वो देखते हैं ना कितने बजे जवाब आया, 3:02 पे, 2:50 पे. So I'm trying to, this is now a good thing can become, if it becomes an obsession,
True.
it's also dysfunctional. So हर एक आदमी को ये अपने obsessions को
Yes.
करने की ज़रूरत है.
So I want to connect two things with the Arthashastra, very important. You would notice how many times he is mentioned about observing himself. And this is the habit of Swadhyay. And Bharat में सारे शास्त्रों में, including अर्थशास्त्र में, Swadhyay is very important. And Swadhyay is the ability to study oneself. And he stated this as a habit over here. The ability to look at yourself, to examine yourself, to study yourself, and based on that study, what do you see? Acknowledge it and make the changes that are essential to develop. He had no hesitation. I mean, this is authentic. In saying, even now, I heard him say this so many times, that I am not a banker. But I learned what was required and I did what was essential at that point in time. So, एक तो है स्वाध्याय. The second is building very useful habits as a leader. So, in the Arthashastra, there is a chapter, the first book. There are 15 books, 15 volumes, but पढ़ सकते हैं, इतना भी मुश्किल नहीं है. In that, the first book, there's a 19th chapter called Raj Pranidhi, the guidelines or the rules for the king. And in that, a very important aspect is called a Dincharya. And it states very clearly, here is the sample that Acharya Chanakya gives, जो आपको सुबह से रात तक करनी है. And very systematically it's given what are those aspects on which you need to focus. But you need to do this daily. Sure, if you are on the battlefield or you are on the run, you may not be able to practice it the same way. But it should be a default mechanism that at the very first instance after that you should get back to it. That's Dincharya, where you build a wiring. I mentioned earlier Vinay. Vinay is the leadership wiring essential for every leader. Searle calls it an obsession. I agree. Sometimes get dysfunctional. But well after he had professionally retired, so to say, of course, like great soldiers, leaders never retire, right? But I have seen whenever I have gone to his home, and the last time the home was in a state of repair, but sir is behind his desk in his home office. सारा घर खंडर हो गया है, लेकिन सर का ऑफिस वहां पर है. And he is sitting behind his desk and working. This is discipline. He is so orderly and he needs to get there to work on it. And I don't want to say he's of advanced age, but still to wake up every morning, 6 o'clock, go to the gym, swimming as a habit, writing as a habit, reading as a habit, not one day goes without.
But don't get wrong ideas. I enjoy a lot. I'm a traveler. I have seen 85 countries.
Yes.
And I'm on mission to complete 100.
Yes.
So I enjoy a lot. So you have to have a balance.
Yes. So ये दिनचर्या भी बहुत important. Now, talking about, you found out by now that he doesn't hold back on the words he needs to say. So I'm going to cover 2 points, and sir, I'm going to ask you questions on that. One is, which I remember so distinctly, when Talwar Saab, who was one of the great CMDs of Bank of Baroda, first visited, when he was
Principal Bank of Baroda,
the principal of Staff College Bank of Baroda. तभी उन्होंने क्या कहा था?
मैं बताता हूँ.
Very important. That's one. Then I'll come to something related. Please, sir.
Now that he has very correctly captured. One is two things very important. One is your experiments with authenticity, irrespective of that your top bosses are there, but in a manner that is dignified. So once my big boss, Mr. Talwar, he had just joined the bank, he came from another bank, Punjabi man, very. So he came to Bank of Baroda Staff College. The same Staff College I went for training, I became principal. And those days the top management support was not very good for training. He had just come as new chairman. In training college, there is guest house, so they stay there. They come for bank's work in Ahmedabad zone and all that. And that particular day, he was not in good mood because he was very unhappy with the zones working. So then he was packing up. He says, he was a very wonderful style of talking. He said, "अच्छा बोलिए खंडेलवाल साहब, कॉलेज कैसा चल रहा है?" मैं तो बहुत परेशान तो था. मैंने कहा, साहब आप कभी आपको ट्रेनिंग के लिए बुलाएंगे तब मैं आपको डिटेल में बताऊंगा. तो मेरा पर्पज ये था, आप लोग जोन के लिए आते हैं या ठहरते हैं, हमसे भी पूछ जाते हैं, व्हाट इज अबाउट ट्रेनिंग. नहीं बताया, मुझे उकसाया उन्होंने. नहीं बताइए व्हाट इज देयर. मेरे को few things come to me automatically. I never plan. I say, sir, training in the bank is for spareables by spareables.
You know, in a lot of organizations, for those who didn't figure what this is, in a lot of organizations, once upon a time, perhaps it's changed now, to make people available for training is a very difficult thing. So training HR or training का agenda हो जाता. But because you have to fulfill that requirement, भेज दो. But imagine being able to tell your CMD that.
Very first meeting. And
फिर उसके बाद क्या हुआ सर, वो बताइए.
ये हुआ, I was also little concerned. After all, in the hierarchy, but top I was AGM level. Two of general managers were there. They told me, Khandelwal, your tongue will land you into problem. I really didn't mean that, but anyway, I was, to be honest with you, quite nervous, not because of my job will go up or something will happen. I'm a bit indiscreet. Was I indiscreet? 2 days after I was at IIM Lucknow taking a session, call came from General Manager HR. I was already nervous. So he said, Khandelwal, phone me in the night at 8. वो 2 से 8 मेरे कैसे बीते हैं? ऐसे मैं तो गया काम से. तो मैंने कहा, मिस्टर टंडन साहब, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, इवन बिफोर यू बिगिन, आई एम वेरी सॉरी दैट आई वाज बिट इंडिस्क्रीट विद द न्यू CMD. ही केम हियर एंड हाँ, मैंने उसी कनेक्शन में बात कर रहा हूँ तुमसे. तलवार वाज प्रेजिंग यू लाइक एनीथिंग. कहता मैं नए हैं वो, जहाँ जहाँ जा रहा हूँ लोग बड़ी बड़ी शेखी मार रहे हैं, हमारी बैंक के, हमारी बैंक, हमारा डिपार्टमेंट ये. दिस यंग मैन had the guts to tell me that something is wrong. Call him to Bombay, he should work here. That is how I landed in corporate personnel department. You see, if you study my career, my tongue has played a great role in shaping of my career. I tell you, everywhere, I tell you, everywhere. You know, but I think it is not tongue, it's a bit dramatic version of taking. It's what you strongly believe and want to say in a precise manner without being insulting. You can get it. Shall I tell them that
Yes.
logo story? You are very fond
Yes,
of. You
yes.
interviewed me on logo story.
I was thinking of the same.
Now
Please
you
go
see what happened. I did many odd things in banks. The banks are very conservative organization.
Yeah.
Hierarchical, government bank, this, that. And I was fiddling with new ideas in bank. So within the first 3 months of my taking over as chairman, I did a major rebranding exercise. The new logo that you see 2B and all that, and the color.
I'll just take a second
Yeah.
to tell you that if you go back about 15 years, the logos, colors of public sector banks
Terrible.
were very dull. So, and there was no branding, there was no advertising, nothing. So think about that, those times.
Those times.
Please, sir, please continue.
So I changed the logo. There was a saffron color or something. And government bank. Unions aided by one's cabinet minister, 5 MPs wrote a letter to Sonia Gandhi. There was a Congress government at that time. That I am a BJP activist. That I have brought this color. Incidentally, the story, if you see our original logo, you go to net and see, there is a hand like Congress I hand. And there is a round, they say, look at what he has done. One day, the Minister of Finance phones me. Khandelwal, you have changed the logo. Whose permission you have changed? I said, sir, it's a board decision. What is board? I kept quiet. He was a Harvard educated man, if he doesn't know what is board. But he was naturally upset. The last thing is very important. Withdraw the logo. Logo had become so popular in the first 1 month itself. We were getting such, he said, withdraw the logo. I kept the phone. Now you see the general mentality, what you call leadership is nothing but courage. Next day I used to have daily morning meetings with general managers. 25 GMs directly reported. I put the problem. 25 and half told me, we should withdraw, we are a government bank, these are government instructions. Just see, not one twice, मेरा एक स्टाइल है, यूपी का रहने वाला हूँ, तो थोड़ी खड़पना भी रहता है यूपी वालों में. मैंने कहा देखो यार, लीडर्स केले के छिलके पे फिसल कर भी मरते हैं, लड़ते हुए मरते हैं. लीडर्स केले के छिलके पे फिसलते हुए नहीं मरते हैं, कि उन्होंने कह दिया और हमने विड्रॉ कर लिया. And we fought and won. How? Full story I'll not tell you. I told government, I went and told, argued and said, okay, I am prepared to withdraw the logo. Even they were surprised कि इतने दिन का सब झंझट के बाद you are prepared to withdraw the logo. Yes, provided this color is withdrawn from our national flag. ये किसी पार्टी
Isn't that amazing?
ये पार्टी का कलर नहीं है, हमारे नेशनल फ्लैग. That settled, nothing happened. What I get are a public sector banker, best marketeer of India from Business Today, 100 most powerful CEO by Economic Times. High risk, high gain, no risk, low risk, low gain, no risk, no gain. I didn't work for the gain, but I am telling you, your courage is tested. Not that you could lose. I was prepared to even resign on this. But leadership is also about taking position and standing for your conviction. And believe me, I retired 17 years back. मैं जिस स्ट्रेंजर कस्टमर या किसी के पास जाता हूँ, हाउ दे आर बॉदर्ड कि मैंने क्या बिजनेस किया, क्या किसी, वो सब लोगों आपने चेंज किया था. It has stayed in memory of people so much. And so the point I am saying is, if at the top people don't demonstrate courage and conviction, they are over-promoted clerks. Leaders cannot be over-promoted clerks. looking at their career, not taking risk. अरे भाई आप रेस्टोरेंट खोलते हैं तब भी तो रिस्क लेते हैं, चलेगा नहीं चलेगा, क्या होगा, ये आपकी मलेशिया की डिश यहाँ चलेगी नहीं चलेगी, पुणे वालों का टेस्ट क्या है. Then there is improvisation. So leadership is all about doing something first time or strange things. Sometime I will tell you an experiment we did in the city of Pune, which became a national this thing.
So in the same context, I want to also tell you, this book, Dare to Lead, was launched by the same finance minister in Delhi.
No question.
That's vindication
And you know what he
of
said?
the courage.
He is known to be very upright and very, very, people say he's arrogant, but what he said in the last, that there is so much glory about this book, people have spoken. But let me also steal some glory that during Khandelwal's tenure, I was Finance Minister of India.
Wow, amazing.
And after my retirement, he came, you know. So, life mein, yes, I want to tell a line which I have practiced. The line I practice, I have never worked for next promotion. Promotions have come. लोग कहते हैं आप क्या बनना चाहते हो, कुछ नहीं बनना चाहता हूँ. If you do a job, you see, every organization requires people. Sometimes you succeed, sometimes you fail. That's how life is. But मैं अगर career plan, I am the only person who refused the chairmanship. It came in economic times. Minister called and fired me left and right. Just one thing. What do you think, Khandelwal? यहाँ लोग चक्कर लगाते हैं Ministry of Finance में. You refused. I said, sir, we joined government service for equity, fairness and justice. And all three things have been violated in my appointment. Because I was selected for A bank, I was being given posting in a B bank, which were not good. He virtually asked me to get out. He didn't say that. He said, you can go. I said, okay. He was removed after 3 months. And I became chairman. You never know a life kya hai, saab.
So before I come to the audience, I'm sure there are a lot of questions. One very important point which he made earlier, but I want to revisit, and then I want to tell you what is the Chanakyan advice on that. You mentioned about leadership is not being gentle. But is leadership also about being tough? So what is the balance and what is your favorite phrase there?
My
Very
favorite
beautiful.
phrase which was known and clarified without doubt was tough love. Tough on performance, compassion for people. I will go to any extent to break any rule to be compassionate. And I will chase a cook till he meets his dead end. You have to take me seriously. And this worked so much that till I was in the bank, you know, my banking industry, man, unions always made, because they thought, you know, those who are old timers with some grey hairs, they felt what banks used to be. 11 बजे एम्प्लॉय आ रहा है, 3 बजे चला जा रहा है, मैनेजर की कोई सुन नहीं रहा है. And we created the bank where not to question how and why, but do and die as far as work is concerned. So when I retired, all trade unions in a joint circular, they write that Khandelwal was a messiah of employees. His tough love policy is vindicated. How? All 1,000 daily wage workers were there. Nobody looked after them. Their job, unions were fighting. Before leaving, I confirmed them, made them pensioners. Even unions were surprised. So tough love, both work, Simon. If you are only tough, it doesn't work. If you are only mushy, my people, biggest asset, this, that. People can be assets as well as liabilities. Please understand. But the challenge is to convert them into assets. That is leadership.
Absolutely. So, what Acharya Chanakya says is Yata Arha Dandakari Syat. Okay, you can find this in the book Chanakya on Management by Garde Sahab, which is based on Chanakya Sutras. Yata Arha Dandakari Syat. Syat matlab is तरीके से करना चाहिए. Yata Arha means as is deserved. You should, and there are the preceding and succeeding sutras which said that if you are tough all the time, you will be despised. If you are lenient all the time, you will be walked over. Chanakya didn't use these words, but that's what it means. Everyone will take you for granted. So the right way is Yata Arha Dandaka. Dandakari is treatment. Danda is not punishment.
देखिए,
So give the treatment to people as is deserved. Yes, sir.
मैं आपको एक चीज बहुत बता दूं कि ये लीडरशिप का कॉन्सेप्ट वी ऑलवेज थिंक ऑफ कॉर्पोरेट. इट स्टार्ट्स इन आवर होम, आवर हाउस हेल्प. ये काम करने वाली जो आती हैं, ये वहाँ से चालू होता है. एंड वी हैव सेड कि इस सोसाइटी में तो ये चार्जेस देते हैं, बढ़ाओ नहीं तो यू आर डिस्टर्बिंग. इस सोसाइटी में तो ये होता है, ऐसा मत करो. एंड आई हैव सीन बेस्ट ऑफ द होम्स प्रैक्टिसिंग एंड वी आर बीइंग वेरी अनकाइंड टू दिस. आई वांट टू शेयर दैट लीडरशिप और कंपैशन जो आपके साथ काम करते हैं उनके साथ होता है. ये कॉर्पोरेट का खेल नहीं है. इस चीज़ का ध्यान रखिए आप. हाउ यू ट्रीट, बिकॉज माई फादर वॉज एन ऑर्डिनरी अकाउंटेंट and his employer told his sons to address my father as 𝙬𝙗𝙀, that means elder brother of his father. And that tradition we have kept in addressing our driver, my son will call uncle, और काम करने वाली को आंटी. These very small things. And not be mean in paying them. I have seen
Lots of
the
people.
society I live, multi-millionaires. 3 दिन काम करने वाली बाई नहीं आई, उसके पैसे काट. वो क्या बीमार नहीं पड़ सकते हैं? सो ये कंपैशन केवल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में हमने बना रखा है. We act so meanly sometimes in our day-to-day life. I am sorry to.
If you could just share that incident of आपने hotline रखा था. And once you got a call of a branch manager who had a...
Yeah. So when I kept employee hotline that they can directly write to me, first I always thought that बैंक इतनी बड़ी है, कहीं बिहार, कहीं नॉर्थ ईस्ट में किसी एम्प्लॉय को लाइफ एंड डेथ प्रॉब्लम है, वो कहाँ जाए, क्या करे. So in my hotline, the first reference came. I was in Hong Kong on that day, by the way. But I had a personnel man who said, sir, मैं जाके ये पूछता था हॉटलाइन. First thing came was from an Ahmedabad officer whose son had died in car accident in New York. And he wanted 3 months temporary transfer to Delhi because his wife and daughters were distraught. तो नॉर्मली डिपार्टमेंट कह देता ओके, या मैं कह देता ओके, बट प्रोसेसेस आर इम्पॉर्टेंट इन ह्यूमन relation. Processes are. I said no. I got connected to Ahmedabad, talked to that officer 20 minutes, offered him to fly to New York at bank's cost since we have a plan. He said नहीं साहब, सब हो गया, मुझे अपनी वाइफ और बच्चों के पास जाना. I am distraught. Accompanied with another officer, I sent him to Delhi. He had requested 3 months transfer. I gave him 3 years transfer. वो 3 महीने वाला पेन नहीं था 24 साल के बच्चे को खो देना. As negative news travel fast in organization, positive news also travel fast. That is how my tough love worked.
Superb. Such beautiful stories. So, coming to you audience, your questions, but I want you to remember the context. हमें बहुत मज़ा आता है to pass on forward messages on WhatsApp saying that, about a certain bank being lazy, lunchtime में आप कभी भी जाओ बोलेंगे lunchtime के बाद आओ and all of that. A lot of these stories are not true. And you have to examine yourself to demean the country and, public sector and all of that very easy. And I can tell you, and you must read more. And, I want to also tell you ahead of time. Sir's got this book along for the best question. Okay, you can win that. But I want to tell you, if you read this book, you'll be convinced that Bank of Baroda was a public sector bank, but worked for the customer very, very hard because of the mindset of Khandelwal. He really thought, and here is what I want to pause with and come to you. Because Acharya Chanakya has said, Praja sukhe sukham ragyah prajanam cha hite hitam. Everything you do, O leader, is with the customer in mind. Alright, nothing else is more paramount. The same thing has been practiced by him. So much wisdom of our Shastra just flows through his actions. So over to you now. Anyone who wants to ask questions, any doubts about leadership or about human relations, or for that matter, anything connected to work lives, please go ahead and do it.
Best question.
हाँ जी sir, मैंने बताया. So the question that he enjoys most.
The best question
There's a hand over there.
will get a signed copy of my book from me.
Yeah. Wait, 1 minute. The first hand was right there.
You have already
Please raise your hand.
claim.
Yeah, that's it. Then we'll come to the others.
Yeah. And Rajesh, you will decide.
Yes. Okay.
Mr. Praful, you and Rajesh will decide the best question. जिसको मैं ये signed copy दूंगा. We will discuss that. Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Please go ahead.
Hi sir, my name is Nikhil. If I'm not audible, please tell me.
Go ahead.
So I have two questions. One will take longer than the other, maybe.
No.
Can you take one,
You
please?
don't make observation, ask only question. There are negative markings for two things. Long questions, negative marking.
That's okay.
Question not related with session, double negative marking.
Ask your first question, then we'll decide.
First question is, what would be your biggest learning in leadership? That a learning that you got from a mistake that you made in leadership?
I didn't get it.
आपने गलती में से क्या सीखा which became your biggest lesson in leadership?
All the day I learn. Even now I'm learning. We daily make mistakes. Yes, one thing I learned was that it doesn't matter what you do for people. What matters is how you treat them.
Yeah.
You may have done 100 things for a person. How you have treated them. At the end of the day, does the person remember, यार मेरा काम नहीं हुआ, but I was hurt. ये मेरी एक बहुत दूसरा people are willing to forget everything, but not your taunts, sarcasm, and toxicity. ये दो बहुत important चीजें जो मैं
Yes.
So therefore it's very, very important to be sensitive, especially when you are at higher level. Anywhere, you're owner of restaurant. If a small man comes and he says, no, go and meet so and so, go and meet. How dare you come to me? I've seen these things happen. And lastly, if I can say, which has happened with me. Meet everyone who wants to meet you. Once I came all the way from Ahmedabad. I had sought appointment with our chairman. Appointment was sanctioned. Even after my going to his office, he did not meet me. I felt very insulted. That was the day I decided I will meet everyone. Lastly, the risk of asking question is I have too many experiences.
All welcome, sir. So please use the mic.
Lastly, मैं भूल गया लास्ट में क्या कहना। So I'll come back
It'll
to
come.
you. I'll come back to you.
Yes,
भूल गया.
it'll come through.
I'll come back.
Yes. So, okay, all hands are on this side. कुछ हाथ वहाँ पर भी चाहिए. Okay, come to her, then Mehul, then we'll take
इधर भी
one
देख
more
लो
year
भाई.
of the sir year. Then we'll come to this side. हाँ जी.
One quick question from your story. Finally आपको न्यूयॉर्क में भेजा कि नहीं वो बता दीजिए.
आप न्यूयॉर्क गए कि नहीं? Finally is what she's
3
asking.
साल के बाद. और दूसरा मेन कि आप जो
One question, please.
अरे ये तो स्टोरी का पार्ट ना. क्वेश्चन मेन ये आप जो बोल रहे हैं मैं सहमत हूँ उससे, लेकिन मेरा जो ऑब्जर्वेशन है कि आपने जो बोला या जो किया वो अगर एक औरत करती है, इट इज नॉट एक्सेप्टेड. सो
ये हाइपोथेटिकल क्वेश्चन है, बिकॉज ना तो मैं औरत था और
मेरे ऑब्जर्वेशन में जो
मुझे बिकॉज दिस इज हाइपोथेटिकल क्वेश्चन. Only a woman can describe. It will be very.
But sir,
Because-
perhaps what you could share, as you know, it's very
मैं
well
आपको
spoken.
एक दो चीजें बताना चाहता
Yes.
हूँ, क्योंकि मैं बहुत ब्रूटल हूँ, तो माइंड मत करना उसका. शायद see there was a time women in top position used to be very polite and very dignified and gracious. शायद इस कॉम्प्लेक्सेस की वजह से women who are coming in senior position are becoming very toxic and brutal now. I don't know whether you are aware. Just to prove what you are saying, which bothers me now. You should not lose your original strength and sanity. Because I'm in the corporate sector and what people tell and nobody will tell you this. Let me tell you. I'm showing some courage to tell you this.
And he could also speak about the women you developed for leadership.
Yes. My executive secretary became managing director of 3 banks.
There
My
you are.
executive secretary. But her poise, what you are saying is also correct. When she went in Chennai, GM, she herself was Tamilian, she was so much harassed. ये होता है. But she annulled that harassment with her grace. Harassment की एंट्री को harassment से कैंसिल नहीं होता है कई बार. वुमेन की यही ब्यूटी है. वुमेन की ब्यूटी ये है कि वो टॉक्सिक नहीं होती है या वो ये नहीं होती है. वुमेन.
But how would you replace grace for men? In men, what is that grace?
Grace? No, I am saying woman is very gracious in the tolerance, for example. Tolerance.
Yeah, because that's me because I'm a woman. Okay, but
What would it be for men, you are saying?
For a man, so you don't know.
If a man is harassed, how would he behave as opposed to a woman? That's it.
Men may behave with toxicity, let me tell you. Tit for tat. Not that I am generalizing, but common trait of a man is annulling it with toxicity. But common trait of a woman is that she is groomed to be a gracious, not that she is weak. For example, I like to give practical example. My executive secretary, very gracious but very firm and gracious. In fact, I did not know this quality till she went to head operations. You have known her?
Yes, Usha ji.
And I said, only you can do this. In your place, what happened, I would have really been very... So what I am trying to say is, कि वुमेन की बेसिक ट्रेनिंग बड़ी पेशेंस में है.
लेकिन मैं बोल रही हूँ कि ये जो पेशेंस या ये जो ग्रेस या ये जो वुमेन के लिए दिया है, that is also very.
मैडम किसी ने दिया नहीं है.
Naina, don't take a position. If you have a question, ask.
किसी ने दिया नहीं है.
We can be position against position. I believe this.
I am not here doing a session on feminism or something. Please understand. What I am trying to say is, ये आपकी choice है. कुछ आपकी बेसिक स्ट्रेंथ हैं, कुछ वुमेन ये सोचती हैं नहीं नहीं ये मेरी बेसिक स्ट्रेंथ ही वीकनेस बन रही है, आई शुड नाउ डू दैट. चॉइस है. बट इसको मैन वुमेन में जरा फिक्स कर देना वो प्रॉब्लमेटिक हो सकता है.
So no, we'll take questions. Mehul, please, quickly.
So all this while, we've heard stories of pure conviction.
Yes.
But there's a very thin line sometimes to choose between conviction and convenience. So how was it possible for you to always choose conviction?
Very good question. But convenience is totally opposite. I will not talk of convenience. I will say conviction, collaboration or compromises. You cannot be sticking on to conviction all the time 100%, but you have to make a choice. Is it something that I will put my conviction to test and take an extreme decision? Like at the time of Logo, I said I would better resign, but not bring back you. But then there are a lot of positions of compromises. You can't every day be ready to resign. You can't be every day something. There are. You have to, you can't be stiff like a tree all the time. When you work in a work organization, there are collaborative working. No, I have taken this position, this is my stand. So here the other side, maybe they have a point. Maybe you reject collaborative, that okay, that's the position.
Yes, let's take a question from this side. Haji, if you could please give her the mic. Oh, there's one there already.
If you could give one piece of advice to an introvert who wants to grow into a strong leader, like what would it be?
Can introverts become leaders?
Yes, all
Without
this.
stepping too far out of their comfort zone.
If you own you are an introvert, first of all, see, again I am saying let us not be introvert, extrovert. First is go into the gym. Whether a thin person can become strong, you have to go to gym. Go to gym of leadership, see what is good for you. An introvert should realize when introvertedness as a strength should not become a weakness. What you need to learn, what you need to do, but you want to remain in your cocooned world of introvertedness, that's your choice. So you find out how your introvertedness is becoming your handicap, if at all. Which are the areas you need to improve, and then you have to start your journey.
So one of the things that you hear from sir is that, first of all, don't brand anyone or yourself as an introvert. Examine where your strengths are. There's a lot about it in this book. वो स्वाध्याय कीजिए, फिर decide कीजिए. How do I play to my strengths?
There are 6 chapters on self in this book. एक लाइन में, the thing that I have throughout my life practiced is self-management, 4 dimensions. Physical fitness, intellectual fitness, emotional fitness and spiritual fitness. In the physical fitness, what are you doing? Everyone says, I am busy. How can I do that? How can I do that? Now don't get me wrong, because I have always practiced credibility. Today, before coming to Pune, I had spent 3 hours on my physical fitness, which included yoga session, walking, swimming. I visited Siddhivinayak, I visited Dagru Shet here because I had come early. That part of my self-management. I read and browsed through 2-3 books on the way, intellectual fitness. Emotional fitness, that I maintained my sanity while talking to this group. As of now.
Haji, Vivek, बोलिए. Vivek, yourself.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, and then a mic to this lady, huh? Don't forget.
I could get some glimpses of the story.
Yes.
I recall my days from childhood that where the toker used to be there in the bank and the ledger used to be there.
Yeah.
And from that era to the
Digital.
digitalization has happened. Slowly the computer and now you are virtually out of the bank. You are not visiting bank. Neither you are doing, everything is online. I just want to ask you one question about this. One of the incidents I would like to narrate.
that you might have a practice. My father his account has been credited wrongly by the bank for 1 lakh rupees, and he himself has gone to the bank and given the letter, and they sincerely, make even in the letter as well. They have informed to other banks also, and he was given a priority treatment all the times. So that kind of image I am carrying in my mind about the banks, various banks. That was different bank, but I have seen Syndicate Bank. I have seen.
What's the question, Vivek?
Question
The
क्या
question
है
I'm just coming to, that this change has happened. So you said 17 years back you did that.
So what is the question, my dear?
Question क्या है? What is
Question
it
क्या
you
है?
want answered?
Could you visualize this change? What is happening?
Is this the question?
Yeah,
No.
presenting the value.
I could not visualize.
So maybe you
That
could
changed.
use,
That changed
however, the
in
point.
1970s.
Values and ethics, what those time was there and
See, I will tell
is it
you,
same now? That is what-
even today in AI times and digital times also, the values are very much required, as they were required at that time. And having heard you, let me also share with you. Today, quite possibly, a customer does not have to line up for many things. But there are still customer dissatisfaction is there. Imagine your internet goes off for some time, and at your and my age, perhaps we are not. You phone the bank and they have no clue. नहीं वो आज जो इसको जानता है वो आज नहीं आया है, या branch आ जाइए. Customers problems have remained. Maybe they are not those kind of problems. The problems are different, and therefore even in AI digital times, the focus on customer has not,
Reduced.
is not reduced. It is still there. Yeah, in digital time, that time your father's 1 lakh was credited. In UCO Bank, since it is published in newspaper, somebody's account was credited by 800 crores on a day. So digital times mein, there are digital mistakes. Your account,
Yeah.
I myself lost 1,30,000. Yes.
The question here, sir, this lady.
Yes.
Hello sir, I'm Asmita. I had a lot of questions, but I will just ask one.
We'll take one more after this. Okay, I'm sorry, but we'll have to keep our time. I have to give it to Devi brother because he's the one who made this event possible. Okay. So
Okay. Rest of you can ask me question on my mail. I will
Yes.
leave my mail. As long as questions are crisp,
Pertinent.
straightforward, pertinent, or reject is very high. I have seen my bosses. We had a boss, kuch bhi bhejo. He was known as OK boss, by the way. And he had a reputation. Okay. You send him anything after 3 o'clock, it will come okay. Because by that time, he would have had 1 beer. All kind of things have happened in life. So he was an OK boss. We were always saying, don't send credit proposals to him. The general manager credit says, I will never send him credit proposals to him because वो गलती से OK लिख दिया तो मैं भी मरूंगा. Anyway, on the lighter side, this is very important to maintain your sanity in decision making and problem solving at the top because you have so much of power. So at that time, to be judicious, to have a balance at that time, whether you are doing justice by this decision. Therefore, I had a policy. Whether it is a positive decision or negative decision, I'll write a 3-line explanatory rationale for this. And this is not my original idea. One of my bosses, Talwar Saab's boss, was doing it and he told me the value of it. Because in banking, many our decisions go wrong. Then there is this trinity of CBI, CVC, CAG, they chase you. So that I learned, and that became a habit. Not that for every damn thing, but where
it was
issues were such that we need to then. So to have a judicious mind when you have too much power The power sucks you. And then there are advisors who say, they force you to make mistakes. Choose your people around you very, very carefully. Someone who can say, "Sir, this is not right." Because at the top you only want to hear this is right. You can't ever make mistakes. They make you God, I tell you. रहीमदास जी ने कहा है ना, निंदक नियरे राखिए आऊं गाँव का सिद्ध समथिंग, कि निंदक को हमेशा पास में रखना चाहिए. My executive secretary had that power. And she was so professional, I will tell you. Her husband was a company secretary of repute. He was chairman of Indian, what is that, company secretary, Institute of India,
Yes.
whatever. And I've also known him professionally. So one day, she said that, her name was Anand. He said, Anand also want an appointment. So I have given him appointment at 3:30. I said, if he's around, call him. No, in the list this thing comes at 3:30. I didn't want to jump the... If he's around, call him. What is there? He said, level off. It is my discretion to call him early. But her professionalism demanded, and she did that.
Superb. Haji, over to you. Practicing coach, leadership development person. Haji.
यहाँ तो मुझे सारे लोग एडिडास के ब्रांड एम्बेसडर लग रहे हैं.
आजकल थोड़ा फिटनेस का वो चल रहा है.
हाँ, अच्छा.
बोलिए.
लेकिन आप में तो नहीं दिख रहा है फिटनेस.
कोशिश जारी है. So what I picked up, sir, leadership is work in progress. Physical fitness also.
Yes, very
good. Go to gym regularly.
Good answer.
And with this fitness, the things I do, you would not imagine.
Question?
Yeah. Sir, when you took over as the chairman, and you said you always believe in transformation, right? So complete transformation. What is your vision? What are the 2-3 areas that you picked up first
for transformation?
Good question. One is, if you are at the top, and our kind of organization, which is public sector, you don't have all of you are accountable to government, RBI, people, anybody can write to FM. Still, with all these constraints, one is your conviction that you can change despite constraints. Most people think, यहाँ क्या करना है, गवर्नमेंट की बैंक है, मेरे 3 साल का टेन्योर है, अपने को हेडक नहीं लेने का है. So your conviction, why are you here? First is this, why are you here? One. The second thing is, to change the most difficult problem of the organization at that point of time. In my case, the most difficult problem from a customer and employee point of view was a very difficult restrictive environment posed by trade unions. So even if I was not chairman, I was number 2. I took very strongly on them, despite chairman not supporting me. Just see, this is India. By the time I became chairman, it was a highway. Everything was clear. So see the chapter of my ED number 2 position, which was the most difficult time of my career. How I have named that chapter is, now you say chapter, the name itself will tell you. That is dress rehearsal for transformation. Number 2 in our system are nobodies, let me tell you. Whether somebody may call herself as Deputy Prime Minister or Deputy Chief Minister, they are nobodies, I can tell you. Or whether they are Executive Director or Deputy Chairman. Deputies they have also designed कि यार अपना turn आने दो, अभी कुछ घपला नहीं करना है, be on the right side. Here I was rocking the boat from the front, so much so that my chairman, when he did not support, I had to give him written representation like a junior officer. He didn't support even then. I was also member of the board. I raised issue in the board. Will you go against your number one in the board in public sector? If one line from me would have finished my career, board supported me. And after his departure, I became the chairman.
Superb. Haji, okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to request Praful to choose the best question. You already have his assurance. You've heard about his responsiveness. If you are really keen
But
to
please
have
remember,
answer,
no, I want to with couple of things.
Yes.
I've also gained experience. One, don't bring personal problem to me. I'm facing this problem with my immediate boss. No, I don't know context. Whether you are wrong or he is wrong or what is wrong, you are only telling yours. I'm not a counselor. Then you have to hire me as a counselor. Right? If you take my time. One, you bring on the basis of the things we have discussed, a question he has raised, for example, a question she has raised, or a question, welcome. Right? One. Second, is still, if you have a long question, I will also leave my mobile number, not here, but in the mail I will tell you if I find this question is worth engaging on phone, then I'll give you advice on phone. You understand? There is a protocol.
and if it's still not solved, you ask me.
You ask him. Because he made the mistake of bringing me here. You can shoot him.
Okay, but you can raise questions pertinent
But
to
I'm
leadership.
all for
He loves
that.
responding.
Yeah.
to
The
them.
other day I had with ISTT 12,000 people. They were not on the
Online.
not online. They were only about 170 or
Yes, I listened to you then.
there.
Yeah.
You heard. So lot of people wrote to me. I wrote back.
Yes.
And I'm happy they gave very little time to me, but you gave good time to me, so I could engage
Yes,
so much.
absolutely. So can we choose the best question now?
You and you will choose, not I. You discuss with him.
Okay, let's give it to Mehul. Can you repeat your question?
Conviction and yes.
Yeah.
So all this session, it was all about his conviction and how he stuck to it.
Very good.
But when it comes to our daily life, how many times do we choose conviction versus convenience?
Very good.
So for so many people who chose convenience, they are not here.
Right.
Pen then.
Give me a better pen. Sir will tell me a pen nahi chal raha.
I'm even writing for the best question.
By the way, just reminding y'all, we have book signing. If you purchase the book, there's a counter outside.
Let us take a photo.
Yes. We'll
in
take
these
a
days
photo
of
with the
social
group.
media. You can follow me on LinkedIn.
Yes.
By the way, I have also become I hated social media at one time. And I've changed last 2 years.
Yes. No, we'll do it right now.
But social media, I'm on
Wait.
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
Nahi, saab, I don't like that social media. I will tell you. Today is my anniversary and 36 photographs of my anniversary. I'm at the airport leaving for Calcutta. Someday they will write, I'm going to toilet. That nonsensical. So once I called it a public gutter system. But social media, I'm active only on LinkedIn. Since I bring out Monday motivation, lot of demand on FaceTime, but I don't write these things.
I found this through LinkedIn, when I started following you after Sunday session.
Let's have
What is your name?
Just me.
Just me. So much. Yes,
आओ भाई राजेश
Mehul.
इधर आओ आइए आप भी आ जाओ अमिता
Take the photograph. I just want to say thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, Rajesh, for a wonderful, enriching session.
Wonderful. Haji,
We'll let them.
I also am going to request.
Rajesh has to teach me Chanakya now.
Sir, हो
We
जाएगा.
also want to announce that there is a table outside with sir's
Sir,
books.
I want you to sign a book for Praful.
Oh, yeah?
So
Why
if
not?
anyone wants to pick it up,
Mehul, give me a pen. You'll get it back, don't you?
So,
Oh yeah, sure. Those who are interested here or there, wherever.
Well, can we do it here?
Yeah, I'll just check.
Yeah.
Anugyan, will you just check?
Yeah.
You are double L or?
Buy your book, come over here. I'll request him to sit over here and sign your books.
Also, one more announcement.
You can be heard, just go ahead.
Yeah, so we are also, Malacca Spice, our venue partners are offering a 25% discount to anyone who's wanting to have a meal here with us. And we would also request all the Malacca Spice, everyone to
one photograph.
take a photograph with sir.
Yes, we'll do it right now, okay? We'll just do it right now.
Thank you, sir.